Hi, I'm Joy. A couple of weeks ago, I made a video about how I built up my trust with autopilot and FSD. A lot of people have commented on the reason why you decided not to use autopilot is because there's a lot of phantom braking. So I decided today to make a video on my drive that took 40 minutes driving 20 miles on city street as well as on the freeway here in LA, so that you can see my experience. And this is a route that I take every Sunday because it's a route for me to go to church. So I hope this video will help you to take that step forward and start using autopilot, and that you will gain your trust and confidence with it. Okay, I'm engaging FSD beta, and I will point out places where I would intervene just a little bit or where I would disengage. And as I stressed before, FSD beta works 80 to 90% perfectly. And there are just scenarios here and there that it doesn't act as human-like as I would like it to. And I think there are also some confusions with navigation sometimes where it may be confused. Maybe it's the map, the data from the map. But otherwise, you will see that it works really great. So this is a pretty typical LA traffic flow. Lots of cars. People are not moving very fast. And I'm setting my following distance to number 2, which is the shortest distance you can set when you are on FSD. I will record until maybe my GoPro battery runs out. But just to give you an idea of the traffic, I will be driving 20 miles and it's going to take me 40 minutes to do that 20 miles. And the majority of this trip will be on the freeway. So you can get a taste for how congested LA traffic is, even on a Sunday afternoon. So there was a slight hesitation, but very, very small, that I felt. And it was because there was a car coming on the other side and it was marked as blue. So it was being cautious by observing that other car, making sure that car was not going to come before me and that it may cause an accident. So I think a lot of times when people report phantom braking, I think that is a scenario that most people are experiencing now with phantom braking. As far as I have observed and experienced, Tesla had made huge improvements getting rid of phantom brakes or minimizing it. So I remember it was really bad 2 years ago in fall of 2020. There was an update that was absolutely terrible. But then after I complained to them and sent data to them, it was improved, much improved. And now the phantom braking actually rarely happens. And usually when I do feel a bit of a braking, it's because the car is driving way more cautiously than I would as a human driver. So it would probably slow down for, a couple of miles per hour, but it's not like slamming on the brake and everything is flying type of braking. It's very, very gentle, just a slight decrease in speed when it comes to phantom braking. But like I said, it has not happened that often in the last almost a year since I've gotten FSD beta, and even prior to that, since fall of 2020. One thing I do wish that Tesla could correct is the stopping distance between my car and the car in front of me. So there is still very big gap. I don't know how well you can see from the camera, but this is like a whole car length. So a lot of times when I see the traffic is backing up behind me, I would actually just inch forward on the accelerator. So when I'm driving by myself or without FSD, this is the type of distance I would stop behind the car that I'm trailing. But with FSD, there's just a huge gap. And a lot of times people here in LA, they don't have a lot of patience. When they see a gap, they're just gonna cut in right in front of you, which is not only dangerous, which is not only irritating, but can also be dangerous if they just make that sudden move in front of your car. So now this is actually a little better in terms of the stopping gap versus back there. So perhaps my tapping on the accelerator to move it forward a bit helped. So see, like that car that just came in, just cut in when there's a gap. So the car slowed down just a bit because it detected that car was coming in just a little too close to the lane marking. And I don't categorize that as phantom brake anymore. I now understand that's how the car behaves when it's being cautious and driving more conservatively. See the big gap between my car and the car in front of me. And another thing is, I wish that the car, once it starts going in stop and go traffic, it would accelerate a little bit more to match the speed of the car that I'm following based on the safety distance that I've set, so that my car doesn't have a super slow start and the cars in front of me are already gone, and that my car would just keep up with the flow of traffic, because I have found that it had agitated drivers behind me and they would get mad at me, which could cause road rage. So here's a scenario. Sometimes on this route, I had to disengage because the car didn't come into this lane fast enough, and the traffic was building up, and I had to turn in much earlier into the lane. So there are times when I have to disengage and just get my car in the right lane in anticipation for this left turn onto the freeway. But today it was okay. However, I don't know if you noticed, there was a bit of a confusion with beta, where it was supposed to have gone straight, but it was the path planning was going to the right, which would be incorrect. But it quickly corrected itself, which was fine. And then also now that we're on the freeway, I don't know if you noticed, when it was merging, it was sticking all the way to the right instead of sticking to the middle or coming over more to the right side as we're getting on the freeway. So that's also another place where beta needs to, or FSD needs to improve. So now my car is trying to change lane, but it has to wait and then come over. So also another time, and the car behind me is coming in really, really fast. So again, I'm hoping that FSD or autopilot could accelerate a little bit more. So the car that got mad at me went over to the right-hand side. I don't know if you're taught, but when I was learning how to drive like 33 years ago, I was taught that whenever you change lane, you need to accelerate just a bit more to match the speed of the incoming lane that you're merging onto, so that you would not cause the car that are coming behind you to brake. So a lot of times when I'm changing lanes, I do have to press my foot on the accelerator just a bit so that the car will accelerate while it's doing the auto lane change. So that would be an area that I would intervene, and I hope that Tesla would improve on. And again, I am still setting my following distance at 2, which is the minimum. But a lot of times when I drive, I have human eyes, which will see farther than the cameras on my car. And my brain actually works much faster than the FSD computer. So if I see that all the way down there, there's a bunch of brake lights coming up, and the car isn't going to slow down till then I will actually manually increase the following distance so that the car will anticipate or detect the slowing down farther ahead, so that it would not do last minute harsh braking on me. So today the traffic is pretty free-flowing, which is great, because normally it will start backing up here and we'll be in traffic. Well, actually I spoke too soon. I see a bunch of brake lights coming on, so I'm going to increase. And also you see these lines coming up on the right-hand side. It means that the car detected that the right lane was actually traveling slower, or the speed had started to decrease in that lane. So the car started to slow down accordingly. And again, maybe a lot of times when people are traveling this lane, which is pretty free, but the other lane was starting to slow down, and they're just still gunning forward, and cars started to slow down because it detected the slower lane, that people may mistaken that for phantom braking as well. But in actuality, the car was being safe in that it will not go full force in case a car from this lane that's starting to back up on the other side will all of a sudden come into your lane in front of you and may cause a collision. So that's another scenario I could think of when there potentially may be the quote-unquote phantom braking that people are experiencing. But so far, as you have seen on this drive, and I've been driving really for like about 20 minutes, there's really no phantom braking at all. And the car is just performing as it should be. And I'm traveling at the maximum of 80 miles per hour. And my current following distance is set at 2. And again, I don't know if you can see the gray arrow lines in this lane. And this is why my car isn't traveling as fast. And again, sometimes when my car is coming up to this lane, the gray lane, and highlighting all these cars next to me that are slowing down, my car would start to slow down. Sometimes I would be like, wait, car, why are you braking? Because I thought that my car would be phantom braking. But then When I look on the screen, then I realize, oh no, my car is actually being safe and cautious because this lane has slower traffic speed than mine. And another thing is, if you feel like there's a little bit of phantom braking coming, you can always just press on the accelerator and encourage a car to go forward. So you can totally intervene that way. The car is still in your control. You're not losing control of the car. You have absolute control over the car. In any case that you don't like it, you can disengage autopilot, you can nudge it to speed up, you can press on the brake to make the car slow down. Okay, I lost my GoPro connection for a bit, so not sure how much footage I lost, but now my car is trying to change lanes. We're moving pretty slowly, which is okay, but there are times when the car tries to make a lane change, and then here in LA, unfortunately, it's very cutthroat in the traffic. When you see a gap, you pretty much just press the signal and then you come over right away. So there are many times when the car would signal, and it signals and signals and signals, and the car behind me would be kind to kind of keep a distance to let me in, but the car, the algorithm determined that it was still not enough of a gap, even though in reality there is enough gap, safety gap, for me to change into the lane, but the car just kept blinking and blinking and blinking, and then after like a second or two, the car behind me would get frustrated, and then they would just speed up and just say, forget it, I'm trying to let you come, you idiot, why didn't you come over? So sometimes I would find myself disengaging from autopilot and FSD when I'm in a scenario like that, just so that I can change lanes much faster than the algorithm is calculating. So like right now, the car is trying to go, but then this car was coming up. I'm actually just, see, it tried, and then I got honked because the car was coming in, and it just won't let me through. So I'm just gonna cancel that. So I hope that Tesla will come out with an even more aggressive driving mode called LA mode. I think Elon actually mentioned this before, so that I would not irritate other drivers on the road and potentially cause a road rage. So that's one incident when I had to cancel the autopilot or navigate on autopilot command, trying to change over to that lane, just because it was not feasible due to the traffic speed and also the driving behaviors of other cars, of other drivers around me. But again, still no phantom brakes so far. Another thing I would also wish that Tesla could do is, like, that car just moved into the HOV lane in front of me, and there is a car that's not traveling very fast, but if this were wide open, I wish that autopilot would speed up or accelerate a bit more to catch up in the gap, like right now. Okay, so now it's trying to change lanes, which is going to be difficult because people are slowing down. So this is where sometimes I would intervene. So right now I am giving it a little push because I see that there's a bigger gap up front. And I hope that the algorithm could detect this as well in the future so that it will not just make me stuck back there with with a little narrow gap, but it can see farther ahead, and that there would be a better opportunity for the car to change lane into. And like here, I am putting acceleration on just a bit because the gap is bigger, the car is not catching up, and you saw how that car just like cut through like 3 lanes in front of me. So that's what would happen here in LA quite often if you have a gap and people just cuts over. And I can tell you this Tesla is not using autopilot at all because the way it drives, it's a lot more aggressive than the way that my car is driving. So yeah, it's like blink, 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 and then now it finally changes lane. But here in LA, you need to like blink twice and just cut over into the gap and change lanes, especially in traffic like this. It's a split-second decision that you need to make. So yeah, this car is actually on this lane. It's like crossing the lane. I'm honking at this person, but FSD autopilot detected it and gave me a forward collision warning, as you saw. So yeah, seriously, FSD autopilot, even just the standard autopilot, really would help with distracted driver like that, where they will, swerve into your lane and they don't even realize how close they are. And so highly recommend that every Tesla owner enables autopilot on the freeway, especially when you drive. Okay, so here's another scenario that sometimes I would intervene or even disengage, actually more intervene than disengage. And it's the merging of the 2 lanes. So the lanes have merged actually, but FSD is still detecting, actually it's now like opening up. So instead of staying to the left where I was coming from, the algorithm put me smack in the middle of the widened lane, which would frustrate the cars coming in from the right, merging into my lane. So a lot of times I would disengage, or I would just put accelerator on a bit so it moves forward, allowing the car on the right to not be cut off by me, and that they would be annoyed or get angry at me for cutting them off because the car is trying to go or stay smack in the middle of the lane marking. So here is another merge, and yeah, there's a car coming from behind, and the car could have changed lanes if it had accelerated a little bit and just go over, but no, it just signals and signals and signals, and then now it's coming over. And here comes another merge coming up, and you will see that my car will go smack in the middle. And a lot of times the car would brake quicker or earlier than it really should. So see, like now it's like I'm trying to stay in the middle, and then there's actually a car from the rear right coming up, and then that car had to brake and stop. So again, I'm hoping that Tesla algorithm will modify this so that instead of staying smack in the middle of this widened lane, it will stay closer to the left, or try and maintain the position relative to the lane that I was coming in from when it's encountering this merging scenario. But back to what I was talking about right before this is sometimes when the when the vehicles are coming from the right that are merging to my lane, I would be ahead of that car, but the car would still brake. So again, that is not phantom braking. It's a car acting way more conservatively and cautiously than we would like. So typically, if I see a car coming from the right, and it's merging onto my lane, I would speed up because I'm like a little bit ahead of them. But with FSD or autopilot, it was actually slowed down significantly, yielding that car to go past me, which doesn't make sense unless the car is already in front of me. So that's another place where I would intervene or disengage, and I hope that Tesla will fix that algorithm. And now navigate on autopilot is going to exit me from the freeway because this is my off ramp. Right now the max is still 80, but then it just changed to 65. So sometimes when the traffic is more free flowing, I would think that the car like phantom brake when I'm trying to exit the freeway, but again, I was wrong because FSD or autopilot, navigate on autopilot, actually slow the car down in anticipation of the freeway exits. And here is another place where I am sending feedback to Tesla because it's supposed to have stayed in the left turning lane, but for some odd reason in this release, not the previous release, when I'm exiting off the freeway, it will actually change lane to the right turning lane and then changing it back to the left turning lane. So that would, again, piss off people that may be trailing me. That it's like, you don't know where you're going. Why do you change lanes and then change it right back? So again, I hope Tesla will fix this algorithm as well. Well, my GoPro somehow stopped recording during some intervals, so I was not able to capture the entire drive for you. But I want to let you know and assure you that there was no phantom braking on this route, and the car did exactly what it was supposed to do. I was driving under overpasses, not very well marked lanes with motorists, cyclists next to me. I hope you were able to even see at one time there was a SUV actually coming to my lane, just veering. Their tires was actually on the lane marking, and the car beeped at me. So yeah, autopilot will keep you safe on the road, and I really encourage you to use it and start building confidence with it. So I hope you enjoyed this ride with me. I will see you in the next video, and God bless you.